From Southern Colorado's high-definition news leader, this is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for News Channel 13 at 4. I'm Bart Bedsole.
And I'm Heather Skold.
Several counties under a severe thunderstorm watch at this hour.
And let's get right over to Storm Tracker 13 Chief Meteorologist Rachel Plath, who's tracking those storms and what you can expect this evening. Rachel?
Yeah, guys, take a look at this shot from our Viero Wireless Neighborhood Weather Network camera, and you can't see a thing. We have an outflow boundary that is caused by rain-cool air that basically spills out from beneath these thunderstorms. One of these is pushing through Lamar. It has kicked up the winds to about 40 to 45 miles per hour, and that has in turn kicked up all of this dust, reducing visibilities significantly. So travel is going to be heavily impacted around Lamar as these winds stay again between 40 and 45 miles per hour. The thunderstorm to blame? This one right here that has prompted the National Weather Service to keep tornado warnings in effect for about the last 2 hours near the Colorado-Kansas state line from Cheyenne County into Kiowa and then into Prowers. The good news is here in Colorado, tornado warnings have been allowed to expire as this storm has swirled into east or western Kansas. Right now, the primary threat for a tornado is east of the Colorado-Kansas state line. Near Coolidge, we had the potential for tornadoes, though, near Holly and also up towards Sheridan Lake. It was near Cheyenne Wells, though, where we had confirmed tornadoes on the ground right around 2:15. So this storm really packed a punch. As of right now, I have no damage reports to pass along to you. If that changes, of course, I will let you know right here on KRDO News Channel 13. These storms are developing in an area where we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 8 o'clock. It includes Baca, Bent, Kiowa, Prowers, and even portions of the I-70 corridor. Again, this stays in effect until 8 o'clock. So for the next several hours, we'll have the potential for some of the strongest storms out across the far eastern plains. That doesn't mean we're going to be clear for areas outside of that watch box. Instead, we are seeing a few storms along the Palmer Divide. We have another cell that has developed just to the south of Carville. These storms nowhere near as intense as the storm that we just showed you moving into Kansas, but we'll still need to keep an eye on these storms. Heavy rain could cause flooding concerns, and we could also end up with some small hail with those cells as well. Stick with us here on KRDO News Channel 13. We'll continue to track those storms for you. We also encourage you to download our Storm Tracker 13 weather app. It is free for your iPhone and your Android. Just one more way we are working to keep you ahead of the storm. Coming up, I will show you if any more of these strong storms are expected not only through the evening, but more importantly this weekend. I have your Saturday, Sunday forecast coming up. Bart and Heather, back to you.
All right, thanks, Rachel. And we are monitoring breaking news out of Turkey. Some Turkish military units are attempting an uprising at this hour. Right now, it is about 1 in the morning there. The Turkish Prime Minister told state news agencies the uprising is an attempt against democracy and the will of the people. Martial law is being imposed and curfew has been declared across the country. We will continue to monitor the situation there. And also, we are still monitoring the Hayden Pass fire here in southern Colorado. We want to show you a live look at the smoke billowing from the wildfire. The blaze has scorched more than 15,000 acres, and while the fire is expanding, there is no containment yet. Several dozen homeowners evacuated earlier this week were allowed back briefly this morning to check on their homes and grab anything they couldn't in the rush to get out on Sunday. It's
unclear when or if other evacuated homeowners will be allowed to briefly return to their homes. We will keep you updated on the orders and advisories we are getting from officials on the ground there.
And if you're driving in Fremont County, you're being asked to watch out for fire crews on the road. This comes after 5 firefighters who were on their way to battle the Hayden Pass fire were involved in a crash. The crew had just left the Cold Springs fire when they were hit by a tractor trailer on I-25 near Fort Collins. They were released from the Cold Springs fire in Boulder County. No one else was hurt in the crash. Those firefighters are expected to be okay.
Firefighters at Fort Carson continue to make progress on the fire burning at the post. It's now 95% contained after burning about 720 acres since it broke out last weekend. No structures are threatened. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. And the Cold Springs fire is now fully contained. The flames burned about 528 acres near the town of Nederland and destroyed 8 homes. The Boulder Office of Emergency Management lifted all remaining evacuations. And first at 4, a rabbit has tested positive for tularemia. The Pueblo City County Health Department says the rabbit that was collected from the Hatchet Ranch area in the southwestern part of the county. Typical signs of infection in humans include fever, muscle aches, chest pain, and coughing. Tularemia can be treated with antibiotics. If you think you may have been exposed to it, contact your doctor immediately.
A woman accused of 2 road rage incidents has bonded out of jail. Colorado Springs police say 43-year-old Michelle Martinez got into an argument with another driver yesterday morning near I-25 and Garden of the Gods. That's when police say she pulled a gun on the driver. Investigators say she was also involved in another incident nearby. And a Pueblo man is facing charges after a standoff with police. The incident happened at a home in the 2400 block of Court Street on the north side of the city. Police say 54-year-old Brian Broom was outside the home with a shotgun, menacing a woman yesterday morning. He then barricaded himself inside the house. Investigators say he eventually surrendered and came out of the building after about an hour. And now to the terror in Nice. Investigators are digging into the life of the man they say was behind the terror attack in France.
More than 80 people are dead and hundreds more injured. ABC's Lana Zach is live from Washington, D.C. with the details on another tragedy in France.
The white jumpsuits of French investigators today punctuating the ordinarily tranquil promenade in Nice, France. We are learning more about the man police believe perpetrated the attack that left more than 80 people dead, including 10 children.
Mohamed Walesh Boulel was a delivery man. He was of Tunisian nationality and he had a wife and family.
His ex-wife detained by investigators as they try to piece together how and why this ruthless attack occurred. Surveillance cameras catching the truck as it drove over a mile into the crowd watching fireworks along the beach during Bastille Day. Inside that truck, a bicycle, a semi-automatic pistol, and fake guns. France's president calling this an act of terror intended to strike at the beauty and liberty of France.
Why Nice? Because it is a city that's known around the world, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And why the 14th of July? Because it is a day where we celebrate freedom.
Among the victims, at least 2 Americans, Sean Copeland and his son Brody. And a UC Berkeley student, Nick Leslie, seen in this Facebook photo, his father says he's still missing. And here in the U.S., the flags over the White House lowered to half-staff.
Today, our hearts are with the people of France and with all the innocent men, women, and so many children who were hurt or killed in this sickening attack.
The world responding with silence and reflection.
The suspect was not on the authorities' radar for terrorism, though he should have been in prison. He had been sentenced to 6 months for assault back in January, but received a suspended sentence. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
A funeral was held today in Baton Rouge for 37-year-old Alton Sterling. He was shot and killed last Tuesday outside a convenience store after an encounter with 2 Baton Rouge police officers. Just last night, Alton Sterling's son Cameron spoke with President Obama at the President and People Town Hall meeting.
I ask for your help to unite all the races of this world.
Wow. Let me just first of all say, obviously, how proud we are of you, Cameron, to be able to be here and speak. I couldn't have done that when I was 15.
Security was increased at the Southern University Baton Rouge Arena, where the service for Sterling was held. Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson attended that service.
Well, coming up, Broncos linebacker Von Miller has a lot to celebrate today. 114 million reasons to celebrate, in fact. We've got details on his monumental contract with the team.
Plus, we'll show you a cool video of a storm rolling through New York City.
And speaking of storms, we now have some damage reported from a tornado that touched down just to the east of Sheridan Lake. Windows blown out of a house and a truck moved into a ditch from the storm that moved through earlier this afternoon, right around 3 o'clock. I'll show you if more strong storms are expected this weekend, coming up right after the break. We showed you earlier in the show that shot from Lamar where you could barely see anything because the dust was so bad. Hasty just a little farther toward the west of Lamar, and you can clearly see that we are having visibility issues there as well. Winds have really kicked up as that strong storm that produced several tornadoes out across the Colorado-Kansas state line has pushed near the area. 24-mile-per-hour winds right out of the north in La Junta. Lamar, 39-mile-per-hour winds. These are sustained winds, not gusts. So clearly that storm is producing quite an impact, even for areas not under the actual storm itself. Now, the good news, at least for us here in Colorado, this storm has pushed off into western Kansas. It is still prompting the National Weather Service to keep tornado warnings in effect, but they are east of the Colorado-Kansas state line. Nowhere in Colorado do we any longer have any tornado warnings. We had confirmed tornadoes, though, near Sheridan Lake. That one produced some damage to a home where the windows were blown out. We also had confirmed tornadoes just to the south and east of Cheyenne Wells. Right now, all we have left in effect is a severe thunderstorm watch. That stays in effect until 8 o'clock this evening. It includes Baca, Bend, Kiowa, and Prowers County, so we may have a few more strong storms left out there as we head through the evening. We are tracking some heavy rain along the Palmer Divide. These storms shifting off toward the east, though, so I don't expect them to push into Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs, though, we're not in the clear. We could have a bit of rain here as we head through the remainder of the evening, so we'll keep an eye out on that. We are tracking some pretty windy conditions, as I showed you. Spotty storms, though, are going to remain possible through the rest of the evening with isolated severe storms possible out across the far eastern plains. As we take you through your skycast, here's what you can expect through the remainder of the evening and into tonight. The good news is by 9 o'clock, most everything is going to come to an end, including the potential for severe weather. So we just have a few more hours of this active weather left with us. As we take you into tomorrow morning, the skies will clear out. We should have a pretty nice start to your Saturday. Winds will kick up, though, as we take you into your Saturday afternoon. Winds tomorrow will be out of the south and west, which unfortunately means we are going to see the spread of smoke and the spread of the fire growth near the Hayden Pass fire pushing off toward the north and east, which could once again threaten the city of Coolidge. We'll keep the city that we have there right near the Hayden Pass fire. We'll have their Coaldale. Not Coolidge. Coaldale is the city that we are keeping a very close eye on. We'll have to watch that as we take you through the day tomorrow. Smoke is also something that is going to be possible as we take you through the day. So if you do have respiratory issues, you obviously want to be limiting your time outside. Through 9 o'clock tomorrow, it's not out of the question to get a spotty storm to pop up, but I don't think the storms we end up with tomorrow will be quite as intense as the storms that we had out there today. Temperatures tonight will be falling into the 50s and 60s. High temperatures tomorrow will be warming into the 90s, and yes, triple digits are back, possible once again for the Highway 50 corridor near La Junta and Lamar, so it is going to be a scorcher tomorrow, maybe pretty windy, especially up across the high country. That is going to kick up fire danger. Red flag warnings will go into effect tomorrow at noon. Colorado Springs tomorrow 93, then 95 on Sunday. A 10% chance for storms during the afternoon both days, which means there's a 90% chance you won't end up with anything. On Monday, a 30% chance for storms is expected. We drop temperatures back into the upper 80s Monday into Tuesday. 90s expected Wednesday into Thursday with a daily chance for storms here as we head through the work week. In Pueblo, 99 degrees tomorrow, 98 on Sunday with temperatures staying in the 90s for the next 7 days. We'll keep it dry this weekend, but storms are back in the forecast as we head into next week. Canyon City tomorrow, 96 degrees, 95 then on Sunday. As I mentioned, winds for the most part are going to be out of the south and west. That is going to bring some smoke toward Canyon City, so please be mindful of that. We are expecting a daily chance for storms once we head into Monday of next week. And in Teller County, 81 degrees tomorrow. We'll hit 80 degrees on Sunday. We'll drop it back into the 70s on Monday, kick the storm chance up to 30%. Drop it back to a 20% chance for storms Tuesday into Wednesday. And of course, we're still looking for our Storm Tracker 13 weather book cover photos. So be sure if you are taking any storm photos that you submit those to us on KRDO.com/contests. We're also still keeping an eye on the Arkansas River water levels. They have significantly decreased since we took a look at those earlier.
Yeah, they were pretty out of control just a few weeks ago.
They were, which is usually prompted by melting snow, which we don't have a lot of out there anymore, especially when we're talking about temperatures in the 90s and triple digits. And again, Coaldale, the city outside of the Hayden Pass fire, Coolidge is where we are tracking a tornado warning in effect right now.
They got enough problems in Coaldale right now.
So
We don't need
pardon
adding
my
tornadoes to that.
pardon my error there, but yeah, we're tracking both of those cities very closely,
we are.
obviously.
All right. Rachel, thanks.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, check out this time lapse of severe weather rolling over Manhattan. The storm blew through New York City yesterday afternoon. Heavy rain and wind caused a skyscraper to move furiously. The storm disappeared just as quickly as it arrived. Wow.
Pretty cool video. Big news from the Denver Broncos this afternoon. Von Miller will be with the team for a lifetime. Why his salary made history.
And the Pokemon Go craze is now headed internationally. Why it could show up during the Summer Games in Rio.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And we are monitoring the Hayden Pass fire. We want to show you a live look from the smoke still coming up from that fire. Several dozen homeowners who were evacuated from their homes were allowed back briefly this morning.
Authorities allowed them to return for 2 hours this morning, mainly for reassurance that they still have their homes and also to grab some last-minute items. KRDO News Channel 13 Scott Harrison shows us the brief homecomings in Coaldale.
As the Hayden Pass wildfire intensified again with the heat of the day, around 40 evacuated homeowners lined up on County Road 6, eager to get back home, even if only for an hour or two. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office manned a checkpoint where neighbors were required to sign in before entering. Authorities say it was safe because the fire wasn't threatening at the time. Tracy Belgard was one of the affected homeowners.
I'm eager and I'm scared. Just, I don't know. I want to make sure everything's fine, but it'll be not. We got out. We only had about 15 minutes, and then we got out. So we had nothing. So I mean, it'll be good to get our stuff back.
Some neighbors will have to wait longer to go back home. The Cuddy's Resort Campground remains closed because it's still too near the fire. That disappoints a Monument woman who has an RV at the campground.
So we left everything, our golf carts there, our trailers there. We have, just a lot of things, but we're really concerned about Cuddy's because it means a lot to us.
The return was hectic at first as authorities tried to keep homeowners' traffic separate from firefighting vehicles. Neighbors had a second chance to gather possessions they didn't have time for during the evacuation. And they were given trash bags and the use of a dumpster to dispose of food spoiled after power was turned off.
They did not demand. I want to help them. I know there was a lot of needs. I talked with the fire officials about this and we coordinated this. This is to try to take care of them.
It's unclear whether other evacuated homeowners will be allowed a brief return to their homes. We'll keep you updated on that. Reporting near the Hayden Pass wildfire in Coaldale, Scott Harrison, KRDO News Channel 13.
Well, Broncos linebacker Von Miller became the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history today.
Boy, did he ever. Miller and the Broncos were able to reach an agreement on a new long-term contract before the 2 p.m. deadline today. Sports director Rob Navnoon joins us with Miller's new deal.
Yeah, it is quite a deal. Looks like Von Miller is going to be a Bronco for life, as Miller and the Broncos agreed on a new contract that'll pay him an eye-popping $114 million over 6 years. $70 million of it will be in guaranteed money just for signing his name. The sack specialist will receive $23 million. That's an expensive signature. After 5 months of frustration, Miller finally received the contract he felt he deserves. Through a statement today, here's what Miller had to say about the deal, quote, "I'm super happy, yeah, no kidding, and excited to be back with my teammates for the next 6 years. This is something I really wanted, to stay with the Denver Broncos. I am so appreciative and grateful for this opportunity. I'm also thankful the way my teammates and fans have supported me. I'm excited for the future and ready to get back to work," end quote. And getting back to work will happen in a dozen days when Von Miller and the Broncos report to training camp, as training camp will begin on July 28th. Von Miller obviously reinvigorated with this big, huge, fat contract. Heather.
Yeah, and a big sigh of relief for all of us Bronco fans. Thanks, Rob. Every day, the Pokemon Go craze gets bigger and bigger. In a Facebook post, the mayor of Rio de Janeiro put out a plea asking creators to launch the game in Rio during the Olympics. Mayor Eduardo Paez wants people to hunt for Charmanders and Rattatats while they're visiting the city in hopes of boosting the economy during the games. The mobile game is currently only available as an app for smartphone holders in Australia, New Zealand, the U.S., Germany, and the UK.
Everybody wants it. Fountain police are sending out a scam warning. Coming up, learn why the IRS is involved.
And a family's afternoon snack turns into a scare. Find out what was lurking in their bushel of grapes.
Cuando veía a los grupos de las personas que estaban intentando salir del lugar después de los fuegos artificiales, a los niños.
We have a Target 13 alert for you. Fountain police want to warn you about another IRS phone scam. They say scammers tell victims they need to pay the IRS or police in the federal government will come and arrest them. Scammers are disguising their number as the police department, too. Now, the real police want to remind you they will never call you asking for money.
One coffee shop in Virginia is making headlines for the unique way it's getting its customers to be nice. It's pricing its coffee based on how nice you are to the barista. A small coffee is $5 normally, but if you say hello, it will get you a $2 discount. And if you say, hello, I'd like one small coffee, please, it's only $1.75. The owner of Cups Coffee and Tea says it started off as a joke but quickly took off. So make sure next time you're getting your morning coffee to be nice, or it could cost you.
I'll get down on my hands and knees and beg for it if I have to.
Right.
Maybe it'll be free. A New Hampshire family got a lot more than they paid for after a trip to the grocery store.
The family found a live black widow spider in their bundle of grapes.
When I was rinsing them, I noticed some cobwebs.
I knew that there was going to be something wrong.
Oh, Jennifer Rydeen said she made the creepy crawly discovery after her husband, oh, there it is. He bought a package of Anthony's organic red seedless grapes. Rydeen said she and her family believed the spider was a black widow because of the red markings on the belly, which her husband caught on video and photos.
That was probably my biggest nightmare, to actually look down into the box and see a black widow sitting there, alive.
It's a spider. I'm going to squish it. So I just threw it down on the ground and stepped on it, and then, you know, the rest is history.
A bite can cause health problems for some people and even be deadly for the elderly and small children. Those organic grapes with a little extra organism came from California. We continue following the heroin problem in southern Colorado. Coming up, we'll take you to Canyon City, where police say they're seeing an increase in the use of the drug and the lives it claims.
And Donald Trump makes it official. Mike Pence is his VP running mate. How the pick will play out for the GOP convention in Cleveland.
We're also keeping an eye on the Hayden Pass fire in Fremont County. Here is another live look this afternoon as the smoke continues to pour off the mountains. We'll show you how fire crews are protecting homes in a live report.
Temperatures for most are in the 80s and 90s, but thunderstorms in the area really cooled Burlington down in the upper 60s right now. I have your weekend forecast coming up.
Earlier today, we went back into the evacuation. Zone. Did you hear that? Turn your audio down. It's hot, please. Earlier today, we went back into the evacuation zone on County Road 6, where crews are working day and night to make sure that there is a fire line to protect those homes. Track in 3, 2, 1. Earlier today, we went back into the evacuation zone. Perfect.